Sri Lanka, the women's movement is very strong and widespread. Women have got together to advocate to win rights over various aspects. The Women's Voice and Leadership project is supported by the Government of Canada. It's very special because it looks at supporting women's rights organizations working at community level, supports them with technical knowledge, capacity building and resources to do what they have always been doing. I feel the Women's Voice and Leadership project has just strengthened an already strong women's movement.
The theory of change of the Women's Voice and Leadership is to strengthen women's rights organization in order to protect and promote women's rights and promote gender equality. So the project had 4 components. So first one was the multi-year funding support, which we provided throughout 4 years. Most of them are doing groundwork and promoting and protecting the rights of women and girls. So through the multi-year funding projects, we have been able to provide that support to these women's rights organizations to continue their good work on the ground. The second one is we had the component of rapid responsive fundings for the unforeseen and unexpected or innovative ideas.
Women's Voice and Leadership project actually took place during a period where there were 2 major crises. The overall impact of the crisis and the overall impact of the pandemic are very much gendered. Despite the crisis circumstance, the women's rights organizations in Sri Lanka work with utmost commitment and dedication towards addressing these perpetuating issues. The crisis mitigation became part and parcel of the project implementation as well.
In parallel to supporting funding supports, so the project has a major component on building the capacity of these organizations. Capacity building started with organizations themselves identify their needs, and through their identification of their own capacity building needs, we have basically worked with 62 organizations providing the capacity building support. In addition, their multi-year funding programs that we have supported also have had their own capacity building components in it. 4th component was strengthening the networking among organizations or when they work on issues, or to come together and work on women's rights initiatives. Things like that have been developed through the project initiative.
The majority of them are either district or provincial based. And this also means that these are organizations that have a plethora of contextual expertise, where they know what actions to be taken and what strategies work well for the community that they serve.
These 62 organizations from all over the island, including all 25 districts. We included the marginalized community. They are cornered or lose many opportunities to be in this society and give their full capacity for the community development in their society. Women's Voice and Leadership project is giving an opportunity to bring everybody into and cover all the aspects.
Across the project, we've worked on issues of income, issues of gender-based violence, domestic violence, sexual minority rights. We've looked at employment rights, including employment in the informal sector and the unrecognized sectors like domestic workers, sex workers. So it's given the Asia Foundation the opportunity to work with organizations who are really rooted in the communities and addressing real issues.
We have to credit for the feminist approach that we are taking overall in the project. It is the feminist approach that gives us the flexibility to allocate funds the way that it required to be allocated.
So the Women's Voice and Leadership project in Sri Lanka was part of a wider Women's Voice and Leadership initiative that is taking place in 30 countries. Is a signature initiative of the feminist international assistance policy. And this feminist approach makes gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls a central priority, which I very much see in the outcomes of the Sri Lanka project. The diversity of organizations involved in the project is striking. It includes organizations, providing referral services to survivors of sexual and gender-based violence, organizations representing the interests of Muslim women, organizations representing the rights and interests of LGBTQI persons and the community in Sri Lanka. We see that intersectional analysis and the principle of inclusion. The project has clearly provided a convening space, a platform to incorporate the diversity of women's voices and amplify those voices to policymakers.
What we could say is the stream was already flowing, so we maybe supported them to take away certain obstacles, or maybe it could be stones or something obstructing, so stream will further flow beyond us.
And these women's organizations will continue their work. And as for the Asia Foundation, we are already looking at ways of being engaged with these women's organizations in the future.